Hello, folks. This is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers to the drawing on May 23rd, 2018. If you would like to play my game, Decoding the Powerball, to help assist you in picking your own numbers, then please go to my website at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. I have 7 strategies with my game Decoding the Powerball. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with to represent all the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 3, 6, 9, 17, and 56. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And then I take the last 3 drawings of numbers and I transfer these numbers over to the game card as red numbers. Then I'll do the same thing with the orange area, the green area, the blue, and the purple. I have 5 different colors, one to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so how you look at this is the red areas, I want you to look at them as hot numbers. They just came up. And then the orange is warm, green is neutral, blue is cold, and purple is ice cold. Okay, so when you see a purple number, this means that it hasn't come up in at least the last 23 drawings. Okay, so for this drawing here, I have 12 red numbers, 15 orange, 12 blue, 15 blue, and 15 purple. And the number of colors change with every single drawing. Okay, so over here to the right is 229. This represents how many color code drawings I kept track of so far. And again, these are the color code drawings, okay? So out of this 229 drawings, 119 drawings have come up a 3-color combination. 82 drawings have come up a 4-color combination. 22 drawings have come up a 2-color combination. And only 7 times out of 229 drawings have all 5 colors come up together. And never has it been just one color. Okay, so this number right here, this number 3, this tells me how many colors just came up in the last drawing. Okay, so you can see that there was 2 blue numbers, a green, and 2 red for 3 colors total. Okay, so how I use this game is I try to correctly guess what this number will be here for the numbers of colors that will come up, okay? And more than half the time, it does come up a 3-color combination. Okay, so the overall strategy is to reduce the numbers, okay? So there's 69 white ball numbers total, okay? Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. Okay, so for me, I just think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, so to help me do that, I'm going to turn to how all 5 colors hardly ever come up together. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these colors won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so for this drawing here, my guess is that no green numbers will be coming up, okay? And the reason why is because I just see a lot of green from here down to here, okay? In the last 5 drawings, a green number has come up, okay? So I just think that it's due to miss. So my guess is that no green numbers will be coming up. So I want to eliminate the green numbers off of the game card. Okay, so we're all going to look at this a little bit differently, okay? You may look at it and say, I don't think any blue numbers are going to come up or any orange or whatnot, okay? And again, it's all just a guess. All right. So uh, again, for me, I don't think any green numbers will be coming up. So again, I want to eliminate the green numbers off of the game card. Okay, so to speed things up, I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far with no green numbers to it. Okay, so when I block out a number like this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the power play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these green numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these green numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, and how this works is up at the very top is the master for each individual number. Okay, and over here to the right are the numbers that just came up in the drawing. Again, it was the 3, 6, 9, 17, and 56. Okay, so with that combination of numbers, that means a 3-group combination came up. Okay, so I'm going to reduce the card down so you can see what I'm talking about here. Okay, and what you're going to see is that there's 7 groups total. Okay, so group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9, and then it's the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Again, for 7 groups total. Okay, so there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so 2 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings. Okay, so I like to break things down into 5 for a couple reasons. One is when I go back into the history of things, this is easier to count as far as going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Okay, so, but another reason why I use it is because my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within this 5 drawings for a certain group of numbers, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is 4 out of the 5 drawings have come up. Okay, so I got this last one right here. So again, the overall strategy is to reduce the numbers. Okay, so my pick is going to be that I don't believe that any 50 numbers will be coming up. And the reason why I'm picking this one, and again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently, but a 50 number has come up in the last 9 drawings. Okay, so I just think that it's due to miss. Okay, so again, I'm going to eliminate the 50 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm just going to blow this back up. Okay, so there's a couple ways that I can use this. All right, one is I can highlight a certain number and go back into the history of things and see how many different colors have come up. Okay, so again, there's 5 different colors, and let's say it just hasn't been blue in a long time. Okay, so when it gets to that blue area, maybe I'll consider the 17 just because it's never been blue before. Okay, another way I use this is I try to correctly guess how many groups will be coming up. Okay, so for the majority of the time, it's either a 3 or a 4. Okay. Once in a while, 5 will come up, okay, and once in a blue moon, a 2 group combination will come up, okay, so here's a 2 right here, and that was 3 50 numbers and 2 60 numbers, okay, so I never seen a 1, which means that I never seen it where all like 560 numbers have come up, okay, so again, the overall strategy is to eliminate the numbers. And my pick is that no 50 numbers will be coming up. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far. Again, with no green numbers from the color code. And now I'm going to parlay that bet, saying that no 50 numbers are going to come up. Okay, so a parlay means to add on. Okay, so I'm going to be adding on a bunch of bets here on this one card to reduce the numbers as much as possible. Okay, so again, this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay, so if I made the correct picks and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 3, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I divided all the numbers into 4 different groups, and I put colors to these groups. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerball numbers come up, I record where they land among these groups down here in the stats. Okay, so again, I'm going to go back to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that came up were the 3, 6, 9, 17, and 56. Okay, so the 3 was red, the 9 was red, and the 17 was red. Okay, so down here in the stats, under this red area is a 3, and again, that 3 represents the 3, 9, and 17. Okay, so over here in the blue, there was one hit, and that was the 6. And down here in the green, there was one hit, and that was the 56. Okay, so you can see that there was a 0 in the orange area. Okay, so that means that no winning Powerball numbers landed in this orange area. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where this 0 is going to pop up. Okay, so if I could have correctly guessed that none of these orange numbers are going to come up in the last drawing, I could have eliminated all these numbers and really gave myself a much better shot at picking the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so how this works is I have 15 of these option cards. They all have the same colors to them as far as red, blue, orange, and green. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so I have 15 of these option cards, okay? And the reason why I gave myself so many is because I want as many options as possible at trying to correctly predict or guess where that 0 is going to pop up. Okay, so for this drawing here, my guess is that no green numbers are going to come up on this option card number 5. Okay, so again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. Okay, now the reason why I'm picking this one is because you can see that there's a 1 here. Okay, and for some reason a 1 will follow a 1. Okay, and like right over here. Okay, this just happens a lot. Okay, so as I go down through the history of things, try to point out a couple more. Okay, so you can see down here, it's happened over here a couple times. Okay, now the point that I'm trying to make is that it's never happened over here in the green area. Okay, so I just think that it's due to happen. Okay, so again, I think there's going to be a 0 right here, which means that I don't believe that any of these green numbers are going to come up in the drawing. Okay, so I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card. I'm going to scroll to the right. And you can see underneath group 1, option card number 5, no green numbers. And you can see that all these green numbers are gone now. Okay, so how I use this is you can see that there's some numbers over here off to the left side. Okay, so basically the 8 shares the square with the 66. and the 19 shares the square with the 67, the 25 with the 65, the 53 with the 69, and the 58 with the 68. Okay, so as I go back to this, to group 1 here, you can see that there's no numbers off here to the side. Okay, so if I'm going to get rid of this 66, okay, then I get rid of the 66 and the 8 at the same time as a group. Okay, so all these numbers here in green, okay, I'm going to get rid of them. And I'm going to get rid of the 8 and the 66 with all these other numbers as a group. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, the reason why I have these numbers off here to the left instead of this 25 crammed in with the 65 here is because of the color code. Okay, so you can see that the 25 is blue and the 65 is purple. Okay, so if I decided to get rid of all the blue numbers, I would get rid of the 25, but the 65 is still in play. Okay, but if I decided to get rid of all these numbers here, then I'm going to get rid of the 25 and the 65 again as a group. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1 for another pick. And my pick is number 8, no red numbers. Okay, and again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently, and we're all going to make different picks. Okay, so we're all going to have a different outcome. All right, so the reason why I'm picking this one is because every once in a while these zeros, they double up, like right over here. Okay, so I just think that this is due to double up here. So again, I think that there's going to be a 0 here, which means that I don't believe that any of these red numbers are going to come up in the drawing. So again, I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over to the right. And again, you can read underneath group 1, option card number 8, no red numbers. Okay, and all those red numbers are gone now. Okay, so again, if I made the correct picks and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the board, on the game card. Okay, so I'm all done with group 1, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1 where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I know that 3 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this is I'm going to blow this up just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to point out these red numbers here. Okay, so you can see that there's 8 squares, but it actually represents 9 numbers because the 25 is in here as well. Okay, so as I go down through, this is the stats for the red area here. Okay, so I like to break the stats down into every 5 drawings. Okay, and the reason why I do that is because it shows me a majority for that 5 drawings. Okay, so this 0 means that none of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed in this red area. Okay, and this 2 means that 2 out of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed in this red area. Okay, so the thing is that if there's 3 or more zeros here, I color the background blue for cold. If there's 3 or more hits, I color the background red for hot. Okay, and the reason why I do that is because when I go down through the history of things, because the lottery is so random, nothing can stay cold forever and nothing can stay hot forever. Okay, so as I go through, I know that things are going to cool down. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so this yellow part means that this is right on the the edge here, I got 2 zeros and 2 hits. Okay, so I don't know if it's going to be red like this area or blue like this area yet. Okay, so this is the last drawing for this 5. Okay, so for my pick on here, okay, I'm going to go with option card number 1, no red numbers. Okay, so I think that this is going to be a 0. And I think that this background will be blue, okay? So again, that means that I don't believe that any of these red numbers will be coming up. So I want to get rid of them. And I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right here. And you can read underneath group 2, option card number 1, no red numbers, and you can see that all these red numbers are gone. Okay, so when I got rid of them, I'm getting rid of the 25 and the 65 again as a group. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2, and my next pick is going to be option card number 3, no red numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the red numbers here, and this is option card number 3. Okay, so as I go down through the stats, you can see that things got pretty hot here. Okay, so now I think they're going to start to cool off, and I think that this is going to be a 0 here. Okay, so if that's a 0, then that means that none of these red numbers will be coming up, hopefully. Okay, so again, I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so you can see that the 4, 20, 37, and 69 are still in play in that red area. So as I scroll to the left, I'm sorry, still need to scroll to the right here. Okay, you can see that underneath group 2, option card number 3, no red numbers. Now you can see all those red numbers are gone in that area. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2. And my next pick is option card number 6, no red numbers. Okay, so again, here's the stats for the red. And as I head down through, you can see that things started off pretty hot. And now I think they're going to start to cool down. So I think that this is going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so again, if that's a 0, then that means that I don't believe that any of these red numbers are going to come up. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, the one that's left is the 3, the 35, the 44, and the 60. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down here. And you can see that all those numbers are gone. Okay, so again, if I made all the correct picks on these blocked out numbers, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2. And my next pick is option card number 10, no gray numbers. Okay, so again, I have 15 of these option cards. Okay, again, I want as many options as possible for me to pick from. Okay, and here's the stats for the gray. So as I head down through the history of things, you can see that things were pretty hot. And they pretty much stayed hot, and now I think they're going to start to cool off. And I think that this is going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so again, I don't believe that any of these gray numbers are going to come up on this option card number 10. So I want to get rid of them. Okay, and I think the only one left is the 40. It was the 32. Okay, so I'm going to make another pick here. Option card number 11. I don't believe that any red numbers are going to come up. Okay, so here's the stats for the red. And as I head down through, you can see that things got pretty hot. Then it got wicked cold. Okay, so I just think that this has hit its fill here for hits. So I think that there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so again, I don't believe that any of these red numbers are going to come up. So I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I think the only one left is the 6. Okay, and you can see that 6 is gone now. Okay, so it's just one more number that I don't have to pick from. Okay, so my last pick is going to be option card 15, no green numbers. Okay, so here's option card 15. Here's the stats for the green, and as I head down through, you see at the very end that it got pretty hot, and now I think it's going to start to cool off, and I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so again, I don't believe that any of these green numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them. Okay, and I think the only one left is the 48 here. Okay, so you can see that the 48's gone. Okay, and that's all I'm going to pick as far as what numbers I don't think are going to come up. Okay, so again, I started off with 69 white ball numbers, and now I'm down to 1, and 4 is 5, and 2 more is 7, and 3 is 10. So I'm down to 10 numbers. So again, if I made all the correct picks on these numbers that are blocked out, okay, all these blocked out numbers, if they don't come up in the drawing, then again, the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within these colored numbers still left on the game card here. Okay, so to help me really pinpoint what those numbers are, I'm going to turn to my next strategy. And that's strategy number 5, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. Okay, so again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, so there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers at the high side or numbers at the low side. Okay, so I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing. Okay, so how I use this, how this works, is this 274. This is how many drawings I kept track of so far. And this goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers. Okay? And out of this 274 drawings, 138 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers, and 136 have been the majority of even numbers. Okay, so here I like to break things down into 5 as well. Okay, so you can see here in this 5 drawings, the majority was even numbers, 4 drawings to 1. Okay, so I could go back into the history of things and try to make my guess on what this is going to be here. Okay, so I'm not sure on this one. Okay, you can see it's even. 2 odds to 2 evens. Okay, so I'm not sure what this 5th one's going to be. Okay, so I have others to choose from, so I'm just going to move on to the next one. Okay, and this is high and low, so all the red numbers are considered high numbers, and all the blue are considered low. Okay, so here this is right down the middle too, with 2 low drawings and the majority for 2 low and 2 high. Okay, so here for the high numbers, it's been 134 drawings to 140. Okay, so my gut feeling says that it's probably going to be high, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to leave that one alone as well. Okay, and then here I got the left and right. Okay, so all the red numbers are to the left side, all the blue numbers are to the right side. And here, this is right down the middle, okay? 137 drawings have been the majority to the left side and 137 to the right side. Okay, so here, this is, again, for this 5 drawings, it's even right now. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here either. So I'm going to go on to the last one, and this is red and blue here, okay? So you can see that the red has really has a big lead of 157 to 117, okay? So this one I'm going to make a guess at, and I think there's going to be more blue numbers than red numbers, okay? So when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, I want at least 3 of them in this blue area, Okay, so one last thing that I have is this is for the Powerball number itself. This is for this red number. Okay, it came up to 25, the last drawing. Okay, so there's 69 white ball numbers and there's 26 red ball numbers. Okay, so if you're looking at this, in this column here, if you see a blue number, then that means it's low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, then that means it's high, 14 to 26. Okay, over here in this one, in this column, if you see a red number, then that means it's odds. And if you see a blue number, then that means it's evens. Okay, so if I could correctly guess what the color will be here, okay, I could eliminate half the numbers here. Okay, so for some reason, I think it's going to be red. And over here, I think that this will be red as well. Okay, so for the Powerball number, I think it's going to be a high odd number. Okay, so as I go back to the game card here, I'm going to scroll down. You can see the 50-50 picks. The only one that I'm going to make is, the only guess I'm going to make is, I think there's going to be more blue numbers than red numbers. So again, I want the majority to be in this area here. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 6, picking the numbers I hope will hit from group 2. Okay, so why I do it from group 2 here is, again, I have 15 of these option cards, and they all have the same colors to it as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other, from each different option card. Okay, so in other words, I have 15 red areas, 15 blue areas, 15 orange, and so on. Okay, so I like to keep track of that, and I call that my group 2 overview. Okay, so I'm going to go to that right now. Okay, so this is what the group 2 overview looks like. Okay, so again, this is the red areas, and out of the red areas in the last drawing, there was 7 hits, 8 misses within those 15 option cards. Okay, so the magic number here is 8. It's right in the middle of 15. Okay, so if there's 8 or more misses, okay, and the hits are on the left side, the misses on the right, if there's 8 or more misses, then I color the background blue for cold. If there's 8 more hits, I color the background red for hot. Okay, so now I just have to look at the colors and try to correctly guess what the correct color will be. Okay, so for this drawing here, I think that there's going to be lots of red. I think that this is going to be red right here in the orange area, so I think there's going to be lots of hits within this orange area here. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, I'm going to scroll to the right. And you can see that, again, I think there's going to be lots of hits among the orange areas of group 2. Okay, so what I mean by that is this number 1, this represents the number 1 option card. Okay, so here's number 1, and I'm looking at the orange area. So you go to 3 down to the 59, okay? And the only one left, the only number left is the 11. So I put the 11 right here, okay? So I'm going to do one more. And this is option card number 2. And you can see that orange runs from 17 to the 24, okay? So the 17 to the 24, the only one left is the 22, and I wrote that down right here, okay? The 22. Okay, so I did that with all 15 option cards, all right? And these are the numbers that really stuck out to me, okay? So I'm off to the last strategy, picking my numbers. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over to the right, and the numbers that I'm going to go with for this drawing are the 5, 11, 22, 47, and 68. Okay, so the combination of what this numbers will bring me is 9 hits, 6 misses in that orange area. Okay, so as I go back to the Group 2 overview, again, I think that this is going to be a 9 right here on the left side and a 6 on the right side. Okay, and because it's more than 8, then I think that this will be red here. Okay, so again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 5, 11, 22, 47, and 68. Okay, so I thought that in the 50-50 picks that there would be more blue numbers than red. Okay, so the 5, the 22, and the 68 will give me that majority of blue numbers that I'm looking for. Okay, so again, the 11 and the 47 are off over here. Okay, so again, that's how I came up with it. And again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently, and we're all going to come up with a different outcome. Okay, so, but for me, my numbers, I'm going to go with the 5, 11, 22, 47, and 68. Okay, folks, again, if you're interested in using my game, then please go to my website at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. And if you'd like to send me any feedback, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Again, that's just decodingpowerball@gmail.com. All right, folks, I appreciate you watching. If you like the content on my channel, then please subscribe. And as always, I like to wish everybody the best of luck with their picks.